So here's a great book if you haven't read it yet called The One Thing by Gary Keller. In fact, I'll grab it. I've got one right here. This is about how to get really good results in your business and in your life. There's a lot of good points in there, even if you're not a business person. For your life, your health, your fitness, there's a lot of great information. But I don't know if you remember the movie City Slickers. But I really like the scene when they're talking to Curly, the cowboy, and they said, Curly, what's the meaning of life? And he's riding on the horse, right? And I think they're in Nevada. And he looks at Billy Crystal, the actor, and he's like, it's one thing, right? And Billy Crystal says, yeah, what is it? And then Curly says, that's what you have to figure out. I always love that line. It's like, yeah, that's true. It's up to you to figure out what that one thing is. But the whole point of the book, The One Thing, is ask a clarifying question. What's the one thing? Here's what the clarifying question from the book is. What's the one thing I could do right now such that by doing it, everything else would be easier or unnecessary? Right? That's the clarifying question. We're paring it down. We're prioritizing to what's the most important thing for us to do right now. And the book talks about sequential. Success is sequential. You don't go from 0 to 100, right? You go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, and you have to understand the sequence. But at focus, each point along the way, you need to be focusing on where you are. That's a part of the whole, but if you just focus on the whole, you'll lose track. So success is sequential, and it's about what's the most important thing I can be doing right now that will have the best effect on everything else. So one of the things they talk about in the book is discipline is the result of habits. And I love this point because I teach habits a lot. I've done several books on Atomic Habits, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, right? There's a lot of great books on habits that I enjoy and have done videos on. But in this book, it talks about discipline as the result of habit. You might look at somebody and think, wow, they're really disciplined. Maybe they are, or maybe they just have the correct habits. The example I love to use is the smoking example. If you don't smoke cigarettes, and somebody who does smoke looks at you and says, wow, look at that person. They're a non-smoker. They don't smoke. Cigarettes are not tempting to them. And if they said they're really disciplined, I think you'd understand my point. Discipline doesn't really have anything to do with it. If you're a non-smoker, it doesn't have any discipline to not smoke. That's just part of your identity. That's just part of your habits have taken you to the fact that you don't smoke cigarettes. So it's really not hard. Discipline is not necessarily what's required. It's the correct habits that are required. Then it looks easy, and actually then it is easy. When you're doing the right things, success is pretty easy because it just comes naturally. The problem is a lot of us don't have the right habits yet. So one at a time, we need to incorporate them. And that's what The One Thing is all about. Success is sequential, and it's one at a time.